All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're looking at some serious pressure points popping up all over the place, from international diplomacy all the way down to the apps on our phones. So let's get right into it. It feels like everywhere you look, the old rule book is kind of getting thrown out the window. We're seeing it in these really tense diplomatic situations, in some high-stakes legal drama happening at home, and yep, even in the digital spaces where we all hang out. The pressure is definitely on. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start on the global stage, then dive deep into some really critical testimony here in the US. After that, we'll hit the economy, and we'll wrap it all up with what's going on in the tech world. All right, first stop, Davos, Switzerland. This is where things got, well, let's just say they got interesting. President Trump's appearance at the World Economic Forum really stirred the pot across the Atlantic. So you could just feel the tension in Davos, right? It was like this perfect storm of weirdness. I mean, it kicked off with Air Force One having to literally turn around because of a power failure. And then once he finally got there, President Trump made a series of comments that they left a lot of European leaders pretty gobsmacked. And wow, this quote, this really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? The president basically put a price on America's longstanding commitment to NATO. And he tied that price directly to a real estate deal. It's this purely transactional way of looking at an alliance that's been the very foundation of security in Europe for like 70 plus years. Look, this isn't just talk. These words have consequences, and they're happening right now. We're already hearing a lot more buzz about strategic autonomy in Europe, which is basically a fancy way of them saying, hey, maybe we can't rely on the US for our security anymore. And to top it all off, this is all happening while the huge trade deal is reportedly getting put on ice. All right, so let's bring it back home now, from the world stage to what's happening right here in the U.S. We're digging into the just-released testimony from former special counsel Jack Smith. So lawmakers just dropped this huge 255-page transcript from Smith's closed-door testimony. It's basically our first deep dive into all the evidence he's put together. And this is all happening right before he's scheduled to testify out in public on January 22nd. So this timeline, this is absolutely central to Jack Smith's case. He's not saying January 6th was just some random protest that got out of hand. No, he's laying out a step-by-step campaign that went on for weeks, all aimed at one thing, staying in power after the election. And his case really boils down to a few key pieces of evidence. And he really hammered this point home. A lot of the most powerful testimony, it didn't come from his political opponents. It came from other Republicans. And he's using that to basically say, hey, how can you call this a partisan witch hunt when the people backing up my claims are from your own party? Okay, so with a bombshell testimony like this, you know the debate is going to be intense. Let's try to cut through the noise and figure out what people are actually arguing about. And really, it all comes down to this one question, right? With all the back and forth, all the shouting, has anyone actually proven that Jack Smith's facts are wrong? So here's what's really important to understand. The arguments you're hearing aren't really about people saying Smith just made stuff up. No one's disproven the core facts. Instead, the debate is all about interpretation. Like, was the whole investigation politically motivated? Or when you have two witnesses saying slightly different things, whose story do you believe? And the big one, where do you draw the line between free speech and speech that's actually criminal? These are huge legal questions, but factually, it's pretty telling that no major news outlet has had to issue a correction on what was in that transcript. And all this political drama isn't happening in a vacuum. It's all set against a pretty shaky economic backdrop, both here and around the world. So there's this huge debate heating up, and it's about something fundamental. Who should control our economy's gas pedal? Should it be the Federal Reserve, which is independent, or should it be politicians in Washington? The Supreme Court is actually about to get involved, and the stakes couldn't be higher. On one side, you've got people saying, hey, these Fed officials are unelected. They need more oversight. But on the other side, there's a big warning from history that says, whenever politicians get their hands on the money printing machine, things like inflation tend to get a whole lot worse. All right, for our last topic, let's switch gears completely and talk about the digital world. Because, man, there is a major power shift happening in the social media universe.
And check this out. For the very first time, we have a new champion in the social media ring. New data showing that Meta's app Threads has actually passed X, what we all used to call Twitter, in daily active users on mobile phones around the world.
But hold on, it's not a total knockout yet. There's a really important catch here. While Threads is winning the battle on our phones, and let's be real, that's where most of us scroll, X still has the upper hand when you look at people using it on their computers on the web. So the big picture is that X is still a bit bigger overall, but the momentum, especially on mobile, it is all going Threads' way. This fight is definitely not over. So when you step back and look at the whole picture today, you've got global alliances under stress, our legal and political systems being tested, even the social media apps we use are in a total shakeup. It really makes you wonder, right? In a world where all the old, stable systems feel like they're under strain, where do we even go to find solid ground? What can we really trust? That's definitely something to think about. And that's all for this explainer.